Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. I always appreciate your presence and sharing your time with me. Today is February 28, 2024. So I will share uh, news updates with you. I will start with this CGTN uh, news about the ongoing war in Amhara region, especially about the intensification of this war. So I will start with that one. Then also Prosperity Party is, making Ethiopians very busy with meetings. Uh, the meetings not intended to resolve the country's problem, but to make the public busy and to test the temperature of the public, maybe, and to see who support Prosperity Party, who are against Prosperity Party, what the people, but it's not to solve the pain of the people. But so these public gatherings are very, busy in capital city Addis Ababa, in Amhara region, in Oromia region, and beyond. So the PP officials are moving around and having this meeting with the public and giving them, you know, uh, false promises or promising them to solve those challenges, but in reality, nothing can be solved under Prosperity Party. The Prosperity Party almost in power since 2018. More problem after problem, war after war, and the lack of justice system, and the things are getting worse under the Prosperity Party, but they are making the public busy, and the public are expressing their frustration, anger, and disappointment with the Prosperity Party. So first, let's start with this CGTN update on Amhara region. Then we'll continue with the public forum happened in Addis Ababa, carried out yesterday actually, and then after I have also a video of Prime Minister visit in Kenya. I have another video also on flying cars. So that's the future of our cars. In the future, we might see flying cars, not only flying airplanes. So I have one video on that one, plus some news to share in reading with you. Thank you again for coming back. Let's go straight to this CGTN news update, especially on Amhara region.
Has flared up again in several parts of the Ethiopian region of Amhara, where government troops are battling a local militia. Artillery was used in the latest clashes between soldiers and the Fano militia. Ethiopian authorities have banned any movement on a road linking the two cities of Debre Berhan and Desse, potentially signaling a major offensive. The army also says it cleared another route south of Marawi. Earlier this month, the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission said troops had carried out dozens of extrajudicial killings in the town, but the government denied that civilians had been targeted. A state of emergency was recently extended in the Amhara region. The unrest began last year when Addis Ababa tried to disarm the militia in Amhara after the end of the conflict in the neighboring Tigray region. Gurum Jala is in Addis Ababa and joins us with the very latest. Gurum, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. Gurum, reports indicate that heavy fighting has flared up again in several parts of the Ethiopian region of Amhara. What more can you tell us?
So, Richard, as you've said, the fight in the Amhara regional state has been going on over the last few months. To be more specific, it started around August last year, and it's ongoing, on and off sometimes. And over the last few months, it was calming down, relatively speaking. So many operations in the Amhara regional state, including day-to-day lives of people, the reception of flights in several parts of the region, including the capital, Bahardar, and Gondar and other places has continued. But the reports that we are hearing from the region suggest that the fighting has continued again, and it is stronger than relatively of the past few months fighting between the Fano militiamen and the government force themselves. Now, around Dese and other small pocket areas of the Amhara regional state, ambush and also attacks against the military camps of the Ethiopian National Defense Force have been reported, and lootings are also pertinent at the moment. The government forces are saying that they are now in charge of most of the activities of the regional state itself, but then again, they are also worried that the Fano militiamen have continued fightings in that regional state when things were going in a much better situation. The people in that regional state are also saying that the material destruction, the loss of lives because of the renewed fighting in the Amhara regional state is heavier at the moment. What we are hearing at the moment also suggests that the fighting might be also escalating, covering much more vaster region areas in the regional state than it was before. So what we know so far is that this fighting has also erupted in some areas that we have never reported before, but the government forces say that they are in charge and they are in control.
Let's talk more on that. I know you touched a little bit on it in your previous answer, but how is the government dealing with the latest eruption of the clashes? Can you give us some details?
So, Richard, the National Defense Force has got heavy presence in the Amhara regional state. There are operations almost in a daily basis in order to calm the situation down. There are also, apart from the fighting against the Fano militiamen, there are also other efforts being exerted by the government, which is a quest for negotiation in order to peacefully resolve the ongoing conflict in the Amhara regional state. Just to mention a few, the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, for example, just a few days back, had a conversation with representatives from the Amhara regional state, from religious to political representatives. And the suggestion is bring the Fano representatives, the militiamen, for a talk, for a roundtable discussion. He also promised that even if it's needed that we have to pay ransoms, sort of compensations for those who are involved in this war, in order to resolve it peacefully, we shall do that. The government's commitment for peace is sustainable. We have no change of mind. We have no change of heart. So apart from the military missions that are being held in our Amhara regional state, which are heavy, by the way, there are also calls for a peaceful resolution of the conflict in that regional state. So far, however, we can report to you that it's the conflict side that is, taking the upper hand than the negotiation side, that everybody wants to see peace in that regional state.
Okay.
Yeah, Bilsegna.
Okay, we'll come back to this Prosperity Party engagement with the public. So that's an update we have from Amhara region civil war. The civil war between Fano militia and the federal forces. Grum Chala, saying the government has upper hand. He has to say it because Prosperity Party are watching what he's reporting. So if not, he's saying these positive things about the government, he might not be able to report from there. So, but the Fano militia also claiming, so many victories against this government military operation, capturing cities and town, and also claiming the surrendering of those government forces to Fano militia. So federal forces, they do not have public support. As said before, if you don't have public support, if you don't have local support, you cannot win a military operation. Even if you have drones, tanks, or artilleries, whatever weapons you have, you need public support. But in Amhara region, in Oromia region, Prosperity Party and the federal army doesn't have public support. The public is detested of this operation. They hate this operation. They dislike the Prosperity Party. They don't want the Prosperity Party to succeed. They don't want the military to succeed. So even the army members, they are just easily surrendering to Fano militia, colonels, and other, ranking officials are just easily giving up the war and joining the Fano militia. So Fanos are strongly supported by the public in Amhara region. And the local Prosperity Party is hated by Amhara region residents. So that's why it's become tough for the government to defeat this war. No public support in Oromia and in Amhara region. The alternative is peaceful resolution, but Prosperity Party does not know how to handle things in a peaceful means. They depend on drones. They depend on heavy military operation, number of military personnel, and spending the country's limited resource on this senseless war. People are dying. People are dying. And no resolution. So in Oromia region the same, in Amhara region the same. And as you heard on this video, the roads between Debre Brahan and the Desi totally closed for this military operation. If this happened in another country, it could ignite public anger, but Ethiopians are just tolerant. They tolerate government abuses. When the constitution is broken, they tolerate fear of, these security forces, the killing squad, Korenagenya, and others. Fear of this. Ethiopians are very, very fearful of this assassination, undercover operation, and mass detention. That's why, despite all these huge problems they are facing under Prosperity Party, they are still silent. And you will hear from this and other public engagement with Prosperity Party when the public expressing their frustration, their anger, their disappointment with Prosperity Party. They frustrated about lack of peace and security in Ethiopia, in their region. And they are frustrated about high inflation, high cost of living, and some of them claiming the price of minerals equivalent to the price of basic food items. The minerals supposed to be higher in price than the basic food items like teff or wheat or others, but now coming closer because of this high inflation and expensive living condition. The people are frustrated. High unemployment, lack of public services, electricity, roads, and the lack of justice in the country. Killing without accountability is common. Detention without accountability. People freed by court, rearrested in Ethiopia. And the Justice Minister, Mr. Gideon Timotheus is there, very highly educated person, but he is controlled by Prosperity Party. He cannot say anything. He is part of the system. So many anger, so many frustration. People are just afraid to get out and, make just daily activities. Very frustrated. So this is in Amharic, but in general is they are expressing lack of peace and security, corruption in the country, lack of public service, lack of justice, high inflation, and other challenges, and and the Prosperity Party giving them false promises and false solutions. And as I said, this is not intended to resolve the country's problem. This is to test, to see how the people are feeling about Prosperity Party and who are maybe against them or with them. So it's not to resolve the country's problem. So as a challenge, let's listen to this and continue. This is for those who might understand Amharic. If not, that is the general sense of this public forum.
ፓርቲ በአማራ ክልልና ኦሮሚያ ክልሎችን ጨምሮ በተለያዩ ከተሞች ሲያካሂድ የቆየውን የህዝብ ውይይት ዛሬ በአዲስ አበባ በተለያዩ ክፍለ ከተሞች አካሂዷል። ፓርቲው የህዝብ ውይይቱን በህዝብ በኩል ያሉ ጥያቄዎችን ለማዳመጥ በሚል እንዳዘጋጀውም አንስቷል። ውይይቱ ከተደረገባቸው ክፍለ ከተሞች አንዱ በሆነው በአዲስ ከተማ ክፍለ ከተማ በተካሄደ ውይይትም ተሳታፊዎች በኑሮ ውድነት ዙሪያ የሰላም የመልካም አስተዳደሮች ላይ የሚስተዋሉ ችግሮችን አንስተዋል።
ሽንኩርት እና ስንዴ ራሱ እኮ ለዚህ ህብረተሰብ ማዕድን ሆኖበታል። ትልቅ ማዕድን። ጤፍና ወርቅ እኮ ግራማቸው እኩል ሊሆን ነው። ጤፍ 10,400 ብር ሲሰጥ እንግዲህ ከወርቅ ጋር እኩል እየመጣ ነው።
ሁልጊዜ ነው ስብሰባ ላይ ኑሮ ውድነትን እንናገራለን፣ እንጮኻለን። ከመንግስት አካል የሚመጡትን መልስ ነው ብሎ ይሰጣሉ። መልሱ ዜሮ ነው።
የኑሮ ውድነቱን ችግር ለመፍታት ከተፈለገ አምራቹ ምርቱን ወደ ገበያ ማቅረብ አለበት። ከአርሶ አደሩ የሚቀበለው አካል ደግሞ በነፃነት ምርቱን ማዟዟር አለበት ማለት ነው፣ ማቅረብ አለበት ማለት ነው። ይሄ ብዙ ነገር የሚጠበቀው ከመንግስት ነው። በየአካባቢው ካለው የጸጥታ መዋቅር ከህዝቡ ጋር የሚጠበቅ ነው።
የኑሮ ውድነቱና የጸጥታ ሁኔታ ተያያዥነት እንዳለው በመድረኩ የተነሳ ሲሆን አርሶ አደሩ ምርቱን አውጥቶ ለነጋዴው ለማስረከብ ነጋዴውም ተንቀሳቅሶ ለመስራት የጸጥታው ችግር ማነቆ እንደሆነበት ተነስቷል። የዜጎች ህይወት ሀብትና ንብረትም አደጋ ላይ የወደቀበት እንደሆነ ነው ተወያዮች ያነሱት። የሚታዩ ችግሮችን ለመፍታትም መንግስት ትኩረት ሰጥቶ እንዲሰራ ተጠይቋል።
አመራሮች ትኩረት ሰጥታችሁ ይህን ግጭት ብታስወግዱና ብቀርብን ደስ ይለናል። ወደ ደቡብ መውጋት አልቻልንም። ወደ ምዕራብ መሄድ አልቻልንም። ወደ አማራው ክልል ለመሄድ አልቻልንም። ሰሜን ለመሄድ አልቻልንም።
ሰላም ቢኖር አሁን ማያመርቱ የተለያዩ ሀገራችን ክፍሎች ያመርታሉ። ስለዚህ አዲስ አበባ መግባት የነበረበት ብዙ ምርት ይገባል። ምርታማነት በዛው ደረጃ ያድጋል ማለት ነው። ምርትም ያድጋል። ደቡብ አካባቢ መኪናዎች ችግር አለ ተብሏል። ስለዚህ 2-3 ክልል ብቻ ነው ብዙ ቦታዎች ወደ አዲስ አበባ የሚገባው ምርት ላይ ማነቆ እንዳለ በግልጽ ከተሰብሳቢው ቀርቧል። ይሄ በፓርቲው የሚታወቅ ነው። መፍትሄው በሰላም ዙሪያ ማረጋጋት፣ አገሪቷን ወደ ተሻለ ደረጃ መውሰድ ነው። በዚህም እየተሰራበት ይገኛል። በሁለት መልክ ነው እንግዲህ የሚሰራው። አንደኛው ህገወጥ የሆኑ ቡድኖችና ለህግ የማይገዙትን በህግ ማስከበር ስራዎች ያለው ሁኔታ መለወጥ ነው። ሌላው ደግሞ በውይይትና በድርድር የሚፈቱ ጉዳዮች ይኖራሉ።
በህዝባዊ ውይይቱ ላይ ሌላው የተነሳው የመልካም አስተዳደር ችግር ሲሆን የአገልግሎት አሰጣጥ፣ የጤና ተቋማት፣ የመድኃኒት እጥረት እንዲሁም ሌሎች ችግሮች በውይይቱ ተነስተዋል። የመልካም አስተዳደር ችግሮቹ መንግስትን ከህዝብ ጋር የሚያራርቁና መፍትሄ የሚፈልጉ በመሆናቸው በትኩረት ሊሰራባቸው እንደሚገባም ተጠቁሟል።
በዚህ በሰላም እጦት ህገ ወጥ ተብሎ ፈልሶበት ልጆቹን በላስቲክ ያስቀመጠ ስንቱ እግዚአብሔር አይምን በሃይማኖት ይፈቅዳል። መጀመሪያ ሳይገነባ ሳይሰራ ነው መከላከል። የት ነበር ስራ አስፈጻሚው ሚስማር ሲመታ የት ነበር? የደንብ ስራ እኮ ከመንጠፉ ከመጥፋቱ መከላከል ነው ያለበት። እያደረጉ አይደለም። ጥግ ይዘው ይቆማሉ። ያልተደራደሩና ለነሱ ያልተመቸውን ይዘው ነው የሚሄዱት። ይሄ ደንብ ከህዝብ መንግስትን እያለያያለው ደንብ ነው። ይሄ ደንብ መታየት መፈተሽ ያለበት ጉዳይ ነው።
ኤሌክትሪሲቲ ከማስጠፋ ጋር የተያያዙ አገልግሎት ላይ ትኩረት የሚያደርጉ ነገሮች አሉ። እነዛን ላይ ደግሞ በአገር አቀፍ ደረጃ ቅድም እንዳልኩት ሁሉ ነገር በአንዴ አይሟላም። በሂደት ያሉ ችግሮችን እየቀረፍ በመሄድ ቁርጠኝነቱ አለ።
በተነሱ ሀሳቦች ላይ ምላሽና አስተያየት የሰጡት የሶማሌ ክልል ፕሬዚዳንት ሙስጠፌ መሐመድ የተነሱ ሀሳቦችን ለፓርቲው በማስተላለፍ ምላሽ እንዲሰጥባቸው እንደሚያደርጉም ገልጸዋል።
Look at you, investing like you run the joint.
Okay. The next video is about Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed visit in Kenya. So that's the public frustration, the public anger with the leadership of Prosperity Party, and they just begging the Prosperity Party to settle the peace and the security challenge in the country, to settle it peacefully through dialogue, not through military confrontation. And the other point is about lack of administration or lack of public service, plus also about the demolition of houses in the capital city especially. They say why the authorities does not stop these buildings from the beginning instead of waiting and demolishing the built houses and forcing residents to live in tents. So they are right, yes. Their question, their suggestion is right. It's supposed to be like that. Before the residents spend money, their time on building these houses and losing it for nothing. So that's the right one. That's a lack of administration. So in general, they are just they are not happy. Really, they are not happy, but they cannot do anything. They cannot even protest under Prosperity Party. They are not allowed to come out and protest. They are just under heavy burden of living conditions, high unemployment, high inflation, and the price of gold and the price of basic food like teff is equivalent, which is ridiculous. And the Prosperity Party is just giving them false promises. And the other thing I saw in this engagement is bringing regional presidents to different cities, especially to the capital city. Awash Arba, the Afar president was in Addis Ababa, and the Somali region president in Addis Katama. So it reminds me like during Workers' Party under Derg regime, sending those Workers' Party senior members to different meetings when public anniversary or public engagement happened during Derg regime. So now, I don't know if he has the same discussion in Somali region, Afar region. So why they need to bring the Somali region president to Addis Ababa, who doesn't know, what the public are suffering, what the demands are of the Addis Ababa people. Awash Arba president coming to Addis Ababa to solve So it's some kind of training, like PP officials can go anywhere to represent Prosperity Party and to solve the public challenges. That's maybe the message, you know. But anyway, we'll come back to this Prime Minister's visit in Kenya. Let's see other news. Thank you again. Let's see. So the Prosperity Party making Ethiopians busy with this public forum. Oromo Liberation Front political officer, French journalist detained over alleged conspiracy with armed groups. Bati Urgesa, a political officer with the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, and a French journalist, Antoine Galindo, were detained on 22nd February 2024 by security forces in Addis Ababa. Lammi Gammachu, the spokesperson for the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, verified to Addis Standard that Bate was arrested on the afternoon of the preceding Thursday following his participation in a meeting of the Joint Council of Political Parties in Addis Ababa held at the Skylight Hotel. In quotation, after our mutual attendance at the meeting and the subsequent parting, he conveyed to me via a voice message his detention. Subsequently, he disappeared, and a few days later, we discovered he was being detained at the Bole Sub-City Police Station, Lammi declared. In quotation again, additionally, the spokesperson emphasized that Bate has not made an appearance in court thus far. Conversely, the Committee to Protect Journalists, CPJ, revealed that Galindo, a journalist working for Indigo Publications, was detained by security forces alongside Bate while conducting an interview. In a statement released on 26 February 2024, the CPJ reported that Galindo's legal representative informed the organization that the pair were initially brought to the Bole, Rwanda police station and subsequently transferred to the Bole Sub-City Police Department, where they are currently detained. On Saturday, Galindo was presented before the Addis Ababa City Administration Bole Division Court on accusation of, in quotation, conspiring with two armed groups, the OLA Shane and the Fano militia, to incite unrest in the capital, as reported by CPJ. During the court proceedings, Galindo sought release on bail. However, the police asserted the necessity of retaining custody to identify other potentially implicated individuals and to examine his phone records as conveyed by his legal representative present in court. The court granted permission for the police to detain Galindo further until the next hearing scheduled for March 1, 2024. Despite the grave accusations, the police have not yet presented substantial evidence or officially charged Galindo as conveyed by his legal counsel to CPJ. Indigo publications stated that Galindo possessed valid journalist credentials, was in Ethiopia to cover the recently held African Union Summit and other news events, and had duly informed the Ethiopian Media Authority of his journalistic assignment. The company characterized the allegations against Galindo as baseless and lacking in merit. In quotation, the baseless detention of Galindo for carrying out legitimate journalistic duties is outrageous, and Ethiopian authorities must release him immediately without condition. End of quotation, said Angela Quintal, CPJ's Africa program head. Ethiopia had been designated as the third worst country in Africa for incarcerating journalists in 2023, next only to Eritrea and Egypt, according to CPJ's report. That's shame for the Prime Minister who promised press freedom when he came to power. Oromo Liberation Front's Bate has already spent years in and out of detentions over several occasions. Most recently, he had encountered a serious health issue while in police custody as one of the dozen jailed leaders of the Oromo Liberation Front, including Mikhail Boran, Ananisa Ayana, Dawit Abdeta, Lemmi Benya, Geda Gabisa, who remained in Oromia police custody long after they were freed by a federal court. So it's not shame. Once the court freed you after investigation, you're supposed to be a free person. But this is not working in Ethiopia. That's why I say justice is broken under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The constitution will not allow to detain and keep individuals after the court released them after investigation. That means no crime they committed. So there is no way for authorities to hold them. But what are the consequences? No consequences from international community or from Ethiopians. They don't have power. The power is in prosperity hand. They use, those Korenagenya to detain, to intimidate, to kill, to injure individuals, Ethiopian citizens. That's the challenge. This one is announcement of special envoy for the Sudan from U.S. State Department. This is announced yesterday. Says from Anthony J. Blinken, I am announcing the appointment of Tom Perello as U.S. Special Envoy for Sudan. In this role, Special Envoy Perello will coordinate the U.S. policy on Sudan and advance our efforts to end the hostilities, secure unhindered humanitarian access, and support the Sudanese people as they seek to fulfill their aspiration for freedom, peace, and justice. Special Envoy Perello will work to empower Sudanese civilian leaders and drive our engagement with partners in Africa, the Middle East, and the international community to forge a united approach to stop this senseless conflict, prevent further atrocities, and promote accountability for crimes already committed. He rejoins the department, having previously served as the special envoy for the Great Lakes and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and as the special representative for the second quadrennial diplomacy and development review. He also represented Virginia's 5th congressional district. Special Envoy Perello's extensive experience with peace, security, and transitional justice issues on the African continent and other parts of the world have established him as a leader in this critical work. As he takes on this important role, he will draw on his over 2 decades of experience working across the executive branch, the legislative branch, multilateral institutions, and NGOs. I want to thank Ambassador John Godfrey for his distinguished service as the U.S. Ambassador to Sudan as he concludes his appointment. Both prior and throughout the current conflict, Ambassador Godfrey has been instrumental in advancing U.S. interests in Sudan. Former Ambassador Daniel Rubinstein will serve as charge d'affaires ad interim for Sudan as the director of the Office of Sudan Affairs and will work closely with the Special Envoy Perello as well the Sudan team in the Bureau of African Affairs. Okay, today in Michigan, primary election conducted, and here are the results. Dearborn, Michigan. U.S. President Joe Biden easily won the Democratic presidential primary in Michigan on Tuesday, but a protest vote by Democrats angry over his support for Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza exceeded organizers' expectation. Donald Trump won the state's Republican presidential primary by a large margin, strengthening his grip on the party's White House nomination as Nikki Haley, his last remaining rival, came in a distant second. Although Biden and Republican former President Trump had been expected to easily win their separate party primaries, the vote count for both was being closely watched for signs of wavering support. In Michigan, home to a large Arab American constituency, Democratic voters had been urged to mark their primary ballots as, in quotation, uncommitted on Tuesday in protest at Biden's Gaza policy. Early returns showed the number of uncommitted, in quotation again, voters had approached 40,000 after 31% of Democratic ballots were counted, according to Edison Research. The figure far exceeded the 10,000 target for uncommitted voters that protest organizers had been hoping for. Many in Michigan's Arab American community who backed Biden in 2020 are angry, as are some progressive Democrats, over Biden's support for Israel's offensive in Hamas-ruled Gaza, where tens of thousands of Palestinians have been killed. In quotation, our movement emerged victorious tonight and massively surpassed our expectation. Tens of thousands of Michigan Democrats, many of whom who voted for Biden in 2020 are uncommitted to his re-election due to the war in Gaza. End of quotation. The Listen to Michigan campaign, which urged people to vote uncommitted, said in a statement. Campaign organizers vowed to take what they called their anti-war agenda to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in August. Credit Reuters news agency. Yes, you know, his Biden unlimited support for Israel to continue its bombardment of Palestinians, killing children and women and destroying their Gaza city and beyond. That is unimaginable, and that is really Biden and his administration taking part in genocide by giving money, weapons, and by providing diplomatic support at the UN by 3 times vetoing the ceasefire that could save many lives. But now the death toll is close to 30,000. And the destruction, you already know, total destruction, carpet bombing of their cities. Never happened before under any US president, but Biden let it happen at this time. So that's why I'm angry too. I don't support him. I don't vote for him. I don't support any Democrat. I don't want to see any. Let Trump win maybe, or win the election without my vote. This time, disappointing. Never seen this complete disregard for humanity. Okay, this one is from on this issue. President of Brazil again expressed his stand what the Israelis carried out in Gaza and beyond. He said, this is his statement again. Last time he compared Israeli operation with Holocaust, Nazis' Holocaust operation against Jews. This time he said like this, in quotation, what the Israeli government is doing in the Palestinian, or to the Palestinian people, is not a war. He says it's not a war. It is genocide because they are killing women and children. It is not soldiers who are dying, but women and children in hospitals. If this is not genocide, I don't know what genocide is. He is right. Soldiers are not dying. Women and children were the highest victim of this indiscriminate bombardment in Gaza. So that's the challenge. So let's continue. That's the reading I have for today. Let's continue with these short videos. The first one is Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed visit or maybe to attend the United Nations General Meeting on Environment. So Kenya is hosting that. Usually Ethiopia was the leading center for this kind of high magnitude meeting, but now Kenya is leading. So he's there. Let's see this one and continue with another video.
ambition is sky high at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. One of the eye-catching exhibits at the technology event is a scale model of a flying car. The California-based company OLF Aeronautics is developing the vehicle that they eventually want to have ready for commercial use. They say they have already built 2 working prototypes and aim to start production by the end of 2025. OLF is one of several companies developing air car prototypes around the world.
Okay. So that is our future cars. We might enjoy flying in our cars. So that's all the update for today. I hope the situation in Oromia region and Amhara region will, come to settlement. His heavy loss of human lives, and huge public property destruction, just burning of, farmers' properties, homes, and agricultural products happening in Amhara region and Oromia region. So Fanos are claiming also various victory against Ethiopian federal forces, and they are, supported by local residents, but the government is, bringing more soldiers, more weapons, and spending all the money available, in this war. But soldiers are just surrendering to Fano militia and to Oromo Liberation Army forces. Nobody is interested to fight for Prosperity Party, really. People are tired of insecurity and the lack of stability in the country, all these downturns of this high inflation, lack of employment, and no hope for Ethiopians under Prosperity Party. But for the Prosperity Party officials like Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and those Prosperity governors, they are okay. They can enjoy and use the country's limited resource for their family, but people are in general are suffering under Prosperity Party, and the Prosperity Party are using the available resources to pay for these killing squads, and those security forces who are going around and arresting people, arresting journalists, arresting politicians without due process, and using the justice system in illegal way instead of following the constitution. So that's all I'm going to say for today. I will be back with maybe better positive news next time. Be safe. So long, everyone.